Hi, I'm Dan Webb, editor of Match Fishing magazine. You may have read my absolute glowing review of the brand new Preston Innovations Distance Master rods in the magazine. So rather than just let you read about them, more of an excuse just to get back out and use them again, because they are fantastic rods. Thought I'd do a bit of a video to tell you all about them and so you can see them in action. Today I'm using the middle one of the range, which is my personal favourite. It's the 13'2", 100 gram weighted, which for me, that's the go-to rod. You've got the 12-foot rod, which is a nice rod. For me, is more of a kind of method rod and commercial chucking rod. You know, for long range places like Barston. And then we've got the longer rod, which to me, that is for chucking absolutely to the moon with really heavy feeders. This one though, I think is the choice. The rod for the distance angler. It's got a superb fish playing action. And can cast well up to 100 metres with sensible sized feeders, whereas the slightly larger one, you do definitely need to put a bigger feeder on it to start loading it up properly, and for me it's best reserved for when you're going well over 100 metres and putting on them monstrous feeders of like 80 grams or more. Today I'm fishing at 60 metres, which is by no means the limit of this rod. It will go much further, but it really does give a good demonstration of what it can do. So I'm fishing with cage type feeders in a traditional sort of way, so you know it's not like I'm fishing a window feeder or a method feeder. Easily hits the clip there. You can see there's so much left in this rod. Can do a lot more than what I've just done with it there. One thing I do absolutely love about these rods is the tips on them. I think there are plenty of rods on the market that can cast well, but unfortunately on a rod that casts well, you've also got to put a tip on it that's capable of the distance. Like an awful lot of tips, they're really stiff and horrible, and they're really difficult for reading bites on. And a lot of manufacturers have decided that is just what you need on a distance rod. What makes these completely different is they are incredibly fast taper, which does mean you can still read the bites right on the very end of the tip, but then they very quickly stiffen up in action, which means they're not going to shake around all over the place on the cast, cause wrap rounds and cause crack offs. Like each one of these rods comes with a 2 ounce, 3 ounce and 4 ounce tip, and each rod is interchangeable with all 3 rods. They are the same tips, and each and every one I'd say is a tip for reading bites on. You know, like even the 4 ounce tip, most 4 ounce tips, they're so stiff you can swing around on them, and they're really no good at all for reading bites on a still water. Whereas the 4 ounce tips on these rods, they are proper tips. You can actually see what's going on underwater, and you can be sure of exactly what's going on and be able to distinguish bites. Using quite a decent sized hook today because obviously I'm fishing for big fish, but with a nice soft action on this rod, can get away with smaller hooks if you need to, like quite happily put on a 16. There we are, look at him. He's a big old fish, isn't he? As you can probably tell, I was really impressed with these rods straight away, but if there was one standout experience with them, it was the casting weight that this middle rod can take. Like the action of it, everything about it says to me it's a 50 gram rod. That's the optimum feeder you want to be putting on this, 50 grams. If you're going to be stepping up to a bigger feeder, you want the next rod up. But that was until I tried putting on a really heavy feeder. Now that is an 80 gram Dutch Master bullet feeder. That is a proper feeder. The action of this rod, it should not be able to cast a feeder like that. No problem at all. How can a rod with that soft an action cast an 80 gram feeder? It just shouldn't happen. And that for me just makes this the optimum rod in the range, in that it will just do everything. Even when it's absolutely blowing a hoolie and you've got to put on a real big feeder like that, it will still cast it. And it is at about that 80 gram point is where I'd step up to the biggest rod in the range. I think it's the 13.8. Anything less than 80 gram, and I think this is the rod. Unless you're putting that 80 gram feeder on, you're just not achieving anything by going onto that bigger rod. You're just not going to achieve any more distance. It just makes this rod just such a beautiful all-round bit of kit. Now these are premium rods, and they do come at a premium price, with recommended retail prices from the mid 200s up to the early 300s. But they're certainly not the most expensive distance rods on the market. And I think they really do punch above their weight. So if you're serious about your long range feeder fishing, these are well worth checking out.